Episode number 4 of the show From revealed a great number of new rabbit holes for us to explore. In this video, we'll go over the highlights of episode 4, symbology, and new theories on what may be going on. At the beginning of episode 4, we get a glimpse of Victor's past in the mysterious town. We see Victor rocking his iconic 1970s disco lunchbox as he exits the town bunker to discover a massacre that took place in the town. Later, we see Julie and Trudy interacting at Colony House. We find out that Trudy stole Julie's t-shirt without her permission. Trudy explains to Julie that everyone shares everything at Colony House, an idea that didn't seem very appealing to Julie. This is also a little ironic, since one of the gripes that Julie had expressed to her parents is how she hates when people go through her things. The fact that the concept of privacy is non-existent in the place she chose to live in to presumably escape her parents is quite enjoyable to see. An interesting highlight of Julie's t-shirt is that it appears to show a Chinese horoscope wheel, with the yin-yang symbol at the center representing the interconnection of contrasting opposites, light and darkness, and the symbol surrounding the wheel standing for the Chinese horoscope signs, which are represented by different animals, one of which is a dog and the other a snake. We will later explain what may be the significance of these symbols. Next, we discover that the Matthews had a third child named Thomas, who died when he was still a baby, even though we still don't know the circumstances. This traumatic event, the loss of a child, appears to be at the root of the Matthews' marital problems, and also the problematic relationship between Julie and her parents, as Julie seems to feel neglected by her parents. Then we see Ethan and his dad having breakfast at the diner when Ethan asks his dad if they will live in the town from now on. The dad says that it is temporary and that he should think of it as a vacation, but Ethan says that it could be a magic quest and they may need to save someone in order to go home. Ethan also says that sometimes he likes to pretend that his dead brother, Thomas, is just on a magic quest and that they can help him save the kingdom if they work together. We'll go over the theory on that line very shortly. Moving on, we see Victor coming into the diner to update Ethan on the tree measuring he was doing. Victor says that the trees have moved 4 inches closer to the town, and that's a bad thing. Victor and Ethan also confirmed that they have seen the same ghost kid, we'll call him that, in the past, and Victor explains to Ethan that the ghost kid sort of chooses people to guide them, and they, Victor and Ethan, must find that kid again for clues. The trees getting closer to the town could somehow be connected to who dies inside the town. It could be possible that certain people are crucial and shouldn't die, and if they die, they somehow get closer to losing whatever test they have to pass within the town. In episode 4, we also find out that Sheriff Boyd Stevens was the one who discovered the talismans, and before he arrived at the town and discovered the talismans, a lot of people died every week. Father Catre reminds Boyd that he's meant to keep the town together and lead the people of the town back home. Father Catre also mentions that Sheriff Boyd Stevens also brought order out of chaos in the town. One of the symbols of the show that we still haven't gone over is the Thoresis room, which is also carved onto the talismans. The Thoresis room is said to represent the forces of chaos, and is also thought of as a gateway to the divine. This gives a new meaning to Father Catre's comment about Boyd bringing order out of chaos in the town. It's also possible that the monsters are a manifestation of these forces of chaos. Victor and the faraway tree. Next, we see Victor and Ethan the Grey going on a quest across the forest to find the ghost kid. Victor shows Ethan a faraway tree, which seems to have the ability to teleport objects and people to different locations, and Victor explains that there are many such trees in the forest, and they can teleport you to unexpected places since they are temperamental. Victor then starts having flashbacks of what could be his first day of arrival in the town. However, Victor refuses to reveal how he got to the town in the first place. Jade and Kenny. We also saw Jade trying to get answers from Kenny about the nature of the town. Jade is starting to become one of my favorite characters as he seems to be one of the most inquisitive and intelligent people in the show. Jade tells Kenny that there has to be a more concrete explanation or clues for what is happening in the town. Kenny shows Jade a map indicating that the people in the town were traveling all over different areas of the country before coming across the broken tree and ending up in the town. Let's look at the clues and symbology so far. We also know that the people in the town are physically missing since the show's creators shared missing signs and dates for some of the show's characters on their official Instagram account for the show. If the people in the town are physically missing, this may counter the theory that they are dead, but not the underlying mythology or symbology. Now that we know that the faraway trees exist, it is possible that the broken tree is somehow teleporting the people into the town, but that the people are being chosen by someone or something based on some criteria. The faraway tree and the overall tree symbology also may be connected to the symbol of the world tree or Yggdrasil from the Norse mythology, which is said to stand in the middle of the world, and its branches stretch and connect to each of the 9 realms. In Norse mythology, if the Yggdrasil tree ever falls, that will mean the end of the 9 realms, including Midgard, the realm of the mortals, and where the people of the town are from. This may connect to Ethan's clue that the people in the town are meant to somehow complete a quest and save the kingdom. We also have the chess symbology the show has presented so far, and the clues that the people in the town may be part of a game of sorts with 2 different teams, with each character playing a unique function as a game piece. The precursor of chess, Tafel, was also considered the game of the gods, and is associated with Ragnarok, or the end of the world of men and the gods in Norse mythology, where the god Freyr, whose rune markings are on the talismans, is fated to die. The monsters in the show may also be dark elves or most likely draugrs, zombies in Norse mythology with the ability to shapeshift. The ravens or crows we see in the show can also be considered the messengers of the god Odin in Norse mythology. The ravens are said to represent Odin's eyes over mankind, and we'll go deeper into this mythology in a separate video. Going back to Jade and Kenny, we see that an old radio briefly turns on by itself. Kenny dismisses it and says, yeah, it does that sometimes. It is truly amazing how some of the characters of the show appear to be so uninterested in figuring out their situation, but Jade, who will likely play a crucial role in solving the town puzzle, quickly picks up the radio and storms off. Similarly, in this episode, the same thing happens with the magic jukebox. We see Boyd dismissing it with the same, yeah, it does that sometimes. However, it may be that just how Boyd discovered the talismans that now protect the town, there may be clues to find other items that may provide the people with different advantages, like the levels of a game. The jukebox and the radio will likely end up being central sources of future clues. For example, the lyrics of the jukebox song that starts playing when Boyd dismisses it at the diner reference hell and the following lyrics.
I'm sorry.
Shortly after, we see Sarah's arm is taken as if possessed, and a message to kill Ethan seems to be carved from underneath the skin and then vanishes, like the lyrics of the song that is playing at the same time. Shortly after, we see Sarah plummeting to the floor as she starts having a seizure, which parallels how the character she's being commanded to kill, Ethan, also had a seizure earlier in the show. This could imply that whatever is controlling Sarah is playing an opposing team or has a different agenda to stop Ethan from likely being responsible for a major revelation or resolution later in the show or game. Speaking of the game theory, it is also very interesting how Jay's first impression of the mystical town is that he was trapped inside an elaborate live-action game puzzle, and it will also be more interesting if Jade's technological background is in video game development. Following up that magical quest game type of narrative situation, the question we still have to answer is whether the characters of the show or the game are supposed to save themselves, each other, the kingdom, or all of the above. The 6 graves. While Sarah is having a seizure, we see Victor digging 6 graves and telling Donna that this time he wants to get a head start. This implies that whatever happened when he was a kid in the town, the massacre, will happen once again. And it may also be the reason why the ghost kid is appearing again and has somehow chosen Ethan. One of the questions that we're left to answer from this episode is how Victor managed to survive on his own for so long, and presumably without the talismans to help him. We know that Victor was once chosen by the ghost kid, just like Ethan has, and it's possible that somehow this granted him some protection from the monsters. We could then infer that if the latter is true, the monsters may not be able to directly harm Ethan, and therefore need a proxy, Sarah, to do the job for them. We still have a lot to cover from this episode and others, but we'll make sure to thoroughly go over all of the symbols and clues of the show in separate videos. If you would like to be notified of future breakdowns and interpretations of the show's episodes, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell.